This is Pokemon Emerald EX Speed Choice, a ROM hack that can bring most of genetic mechanics and quality of life features to the original game, like updated abilities, the physical and special split, multiple use TMs, and the fairy typing without changing it that much. Today, I'm going to try and see how easily Mega Venusaur can beat Pokemon Emerald with those updated mechanics. Now, if you've seen my last video where I did the same challenge but with normal Venusaur, you'll know that one of the obstacles I faced was my first May fight. Because of the updated level up movesets, if the trainer didn't have one set for their Pokemon, like the gym leaders, they would go to their default level up moveset that they would have at that point, which in May's case would mean that her Torchic starts with the move Ember. Normal Venusaur struggle because of that, but in the case of Mega Venusaur, since he has the ability Thick Fat that turns his ice and fire weakness into just neutral damage, he had a much easier time. I still had to restart a few times, but that was only due to bad luck. While I make my way to Roxanne, let's explain some of the rules for this challenge. The first is that I'll try to keep the number of battles at a bare minimum, fighting trainers only when they are mandatory. This ROM hack has a function to make trainers fight you only if you talk to them. So if you see me running past a trainer that's not necessary to fight, it's most probably because of that. I can also disable random wild battles, but that's more to make the run take less time. The second rule is that absolutely no items will be allowed during battles, including hell items. I made it so that I would start with a Mega Venusaur, which means that I could have him hold an item. But since in regular games he would have to hold the Venusaur right to Mega Evolve, I'm not going to allow the use of hell items for this run, which should be a fair trade considering the increased stats and the new ability. Finally, the obvious one is that I cannot use any other Pokemon during battle except Mega Venusaur. I'll get some Pokemon for HMs, but they'll never be used for other purposes. Anyways, I reach Roxanne at level 9 and with 4 total battles and challenge her. She starts with Geodude, and even though Vine Whip is double super effective, it wasn't a one-shot, so Venusaur had to take a Rock Tomb before defeating her. I got a level up because of that, and it gave Mega Venusaur enough strength to defeat the second Geodude with one Vine Whip, so last was Nose Pass, and I just used the strategy of using Leech Seed for damage and recovery, and then spam Growl to lower her attack. I got bored after 2 Growls, so I started attacking with Vine Whip, and that was enough to knock her out. For some reason, she never used her potion, even though I know she has 2, so that might be a bug in the game or something like that. However, even if she used them, I was never in any danger. After the fight is the second gym. There's only 2 mandatory battles between Broly and Roxanne, and the only relevant thing that happened was that while fighting a trainer, Mega Venusaur reached level 13, which allowed him to learn the move Sleep Powder. And even though Sleep was nerfed to work like in future gens, where instead of putting the Pokemon to sleep for 2 to 5 turns, it now does so for 2 to 4 turns, it's still an incredibly useful move that I don't think will ever be removed from Venusaur's moveset. I could have also gotten the Miracle Seed to equip to Mega Venusaur and give him a 20% boost to Grass-type moves, but as I've said when I explained the rules, I'm not allowing hell items, even if I could technically use them. Going into Broly, I put Machop to sleep and then started attacking with Vine Whip, but he woke up immediately and went for a Karate Chop that did a surprisingly small amount of damage. Because of that, I decided to not go for the sleeping move again and just focus on offense. However, Venusaur left Machop on a sliver, which meant that Broly healed him. I still managed to knock him out, even managing to be at almost full HP thanks to a Leech Seed that I used after Broly healed. Meditite was next, and I decided to risk it with Sleep Powder even when I knew he had Focus Punch. It missed, but he only went for Bulk Up, so I went for it again the next turn, this time managing to land it. I then went for Leech Seed and slowly defeated Meditite with a couple of hits. Last was the Ace Makuhita, and he was no problem thanks to Leech Seed and the Poison type giving Mega Venusaur a resistance to fighting moves, even when he had a Citrus Berry and hit me with a near max power reversal. Moving on with the run, the only thing of note is that just before the May fight, Mega Venusaur got to level 20, where he tried to learn Razor Leaf. I obviously replaced Vine Whip since it's stronger and has a higher chance to crit. May led with Wingull, but it was a one-shot with Razor Leaf. For Combusken, I had to restart once due to bad luck with landing the moves, but with the combination of Sleep and Leech Seed alongside Thick Fat and the new Razor Leaf, it was no issue. The same went for Lombre, who just did a bit of damage with some weak moves. Okay, now it's the part where everyone is probably expecting me to have to stop and grind to get some levels. Watson. I fought every mandatory trainer before that, which brought Venusaur to level 24. So let's talk about the first attempt. First was Voltorb, and his spark wasn't doing that much damage. I still wanted to put him to sleep to try and reduce his chances of paralyzing me, and I got the sleep powder to land on the second turn. I then went for Razor Leaf, which brought him to potion range, so I took 2 more attacks to defeat him. He then sent his ace Manectric, and while he got both a Howl and a Thunder Wave, Mega Venusaur missed sleep powder twice. Not wanting to gamble on landing the move again, I decided to just go for the offense and start attacking with Razor Leaf. It took me a couple of turns and taking some quick attacks, but eventually he went down. Next was Watson's Magneton, and this was a slow fight. Between Sleep Powder missing, Supersonic, Paralysis, and Magneton Steel typing, it took a long time to defeat him. Now, for some reason he never went for Sonic Boom, probably another bug, and he would have easily won against Venusaur if he went for the move, but if I lost, I could still try until I got better luck with Sleep, which would have solved the problem. Last was Electric, but he was obviously not an issue. Pretty surprising how Mega Venusaur managed to win against Magneton at pretty much his same level, while also doing minimum battles and no restarts. It was mostly thanks to him not using Sonic Boom, but I'm sure I would have eventually won. I would say that I'm worried for what's next, with Matsy and Flannery coming up, but Fake Fat has been working surprisingly well, so I'm confident that I can maintain the amount of battles to the minimum. The next part of the story is the fight against Team Magma, but before that, in Full Arbor Town, there's the move reminder. I could trade a hard skill and teach Mega Venusaur again any move that I deleted, which might seem like a small thing that I shouldn't even bother to mention, but I could also teach him moves that he might have missed at level 1, and there's actually one. Petal Dance, a 120 base power special grass move. The downside of it is that it locks you into the move for a couple of turns and then confuses you like Outrage. It could be useful, but considering that the next fights are against Pokemon that either are neutral or resist grass, I'm going to hold on for now. Speaking of Pokemon that are either neutral or resist grass, in preparation for them, I decided to go and get the HM for Strength, which might be useful for Flannery considering that my other best option is Tackle or a resisted grass move. Also, yes, I know I could also teach him Return, which is way stronger than Strength, but as an added rule, I decided to not teach him any move that almost every Pokemon can learn, like Toxic, Double Team, or Rest. They just make every solo run look the same, so I think it's better if I just don't use them. Next was Matsy, and because of my Riena's Intimidate, I knew that I would have to go for Sleep Powder Leech Seed strats. He woke up immediately though, and used Swagger, making Mega Venusaur hit himself in confusion. Still, thanks to the attack boost from the move, I was able to defeat him when I managed to land the Razor Leaf. Next was Camerupt, and Razor Leaf wasn't a one-shot. He just went for Amnesia though, so another attack defeated him. Last was Zubat, and even though he double resists grass, Leech Seed and Razor Leaf did the trick. Not much of a challenge, besides getting lucky on my Riena, but what's really important about the fight is that Venusaur got to level 28, which is a level at which he learns Growth, a move that boosts both attack and special attack in this game, with the boost being double under the sun, something that might come up soon. Now you probably already know, but the next big threat is Flannery. Mega Venusaur doesn't get much coverage, so I was going to teach him Strength. However, something weird happened. For some reason, when I tried to teach it to him, he couldn't, even though I taught it to regular Venusaur when I did his run. I thought that it might have been an oversight, but when I tried with the other TMs, it got the same results. My theory is that since Mega Pokemon are different from their regular versions, if I give myself the Mega version, only their level up moveset stays the same, with the TMs not being necessary since you shouldn't have access to that form outside of battle, because that would put Mega Venusaur in a major disadvantage compared to the other Pokemon. I decided to give myself a regular Venusaur alongside the items necessary to Mega Evolve him. I will miss on the EVs that I've gotten thus far, but it's way better than having to restart the whole run. Anyways, on my first attempt against Flannery, I immediately went for Sleep Powder against her normal and started going for Growth. It's not even worth trying to go for Leech Seed. I only managed to get one before she wakes up and sets up a sunny day, so I put her to sleep again, and thanks to the sun, my growth now boosts double the stats. I managed to get 2, and since I wanted to stay as healthy as possible, I decided to KO the Numel even though Venusaur is at +5. Flannery Sensora's Torkoal, and I managed to land the Sleep Powder. I started attacking with Strength, and it just barely gets a 2-shot, which wouldn't have happened if she had a berry. Then Camerupt was a 1-shot, and Slugma was a 1-shot. Pretty easy fight. Let's see if Norman goes the same. So to start, I put Spina to sleep and start setting up growths. I only get 2 before he wakes up and uses Teeter Dance to confuse Venusaur, which did make him hit himself in confusion and hurt himself a lot thanks to the attack boost. However, the next turn he snapped out of it and knocked him out with a single strength. Slaking comes out and he's faster. Not only that, but his Facade does a lot of damage. I land the Sleep Powder, and since I was so low on HP, I decided to go for the Leech Seed, which when followed by a Strength, got him just in range of eating his Citrus Berry. He woke up on that turn, but it was his truant turn, so he didn't do anything. Slaking then hit a Facade to bring me back to about a third of HP, but with another Strength and the Leech Seed damage, he went down. After that, both Linoone and Vigoroth were pretty easy to KO. With the Fitch patch acquired, I also get access to Surf, and I decide to just head straight to the next gym, defeating both Team Aqua on the Weather Institute and the rival on the way. And while I could try and challenge it just like that, it's a flying gym, which is one of the few weaknesses that Mega Venusaur still has. Because of that, I decide to take a detour and head to Lillicove City to both get access to the move deleter to get rid of Strength and do the Team Aqua storyline on Mount Pyre to get more experience, alongside getting the TM for Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb, teaching both to Venusaur by replacing Strength and Leech Seed. That last move has been really useful, especially for helping me set up growths, but right now I need more move variety than recovery. Against Winona Swablu, I started with Sleep to try and set up growths, but she immediately switched out to Altaria, probably due to her ability that heals status conditions when switching out. I tried the same with Altaria, but she had the same ability, so she also switched out, this time to Skarmory. I tried to put her to sleep as well, but missed and get hit by a Sand attack, which could be troublesome for the rest of the fight. I do landed the next turn though, and since I wanted a bit more attack, I decided to go for more growths. However, she woke up immediately and hit Venusaur with an Aerial Ace. I attack with Giga Drain and it does a bit less than half. So for the next turn, I go for another growth to guarantee the KO while she keeps attacking. I miss the next Giga Drain and it looks like my math was wrong, as when I get it to land, it left her on a sliver, getting Winona to use a potion. Thankfully, with all of the previous special attack boosts, it looks like Giga Drain now does half, so it only took 2 more hits to defeat her. After that, the rest of her team were one-shotted by Sludge Bomb, except for Swablu, for which I missed 3 consecutive attacks. She just spammed mirror moves, so I wasn't in any danger. I was worried that Swablu was going to ruin this whole setup with Perish Song, but thankfully she switched out early, making the fight much more manageable. Next was the Maxi fight, but by now having access to growth and special attacking moves, it was much easier than the one on Mount Chimney, even when his Zubat was now a Crobat. It took a bit longer than it should against my Diana, but that was only because I got cocky and didn't go for growth at the start. Okay, while I clear out the mandatory trainers on the Psychic Gym, let's talk about the rest of the moves that Mega Venusaur can get that would be useful. Venusaur is at level 44, so for level up moves, there's only Synthesis, Petal Blizzard, and Solar Beam left. I don't really see a use for Synthesis when the Sleep Powder Leech Seed combo is working so well, and Solar Beam is a bit tricky to use, not to mention that it's also a TM that I could teach at any time. For Petal Blizzard, it's a 90 base power physical grass type move that can hit everything on the field. I could see it working for Teddy and Lysa, but it's unfortunately at level 50. And with Giga Drain being 75 base power and using Venusaur's superior special attack, I don't really see a point in learning it. As for the TM moves, the only ones that could be useful are Sunny Day plus Solar Beam and Earthquake. I can see Sunny Day plus Solar Beam being a fun option when combined with a double boost from Growth, but it's difficult to see a situation where it would be a better alternative than Sludge Bomb plus Giga Drain. Finally, for Earthquake, It could work for Steel types, which is one of the major weaknesses for Venusaur's current moveset, but unfortunately, it comes at a point where it could only help against the post-game Steven fight. And with his Skarmory being immune to the move, and Aggron being neutral to grass, it's hard to say if it would really be that helpful. What I'm trying to say is that, as far as Mega Venusaur's moveset goes, I don't see it changing that much from Growth, Sleep Powder, Giga Drain, and Sludge Bomb. Going into the Teddy and Lysa fight, I had to bring one of the Pokemon I was using for HM since I was forced to. Satu started by defeating my HM with Psychic, followed by Venusaur putting to sleep the Satu, while Claydol went for an Earthquake that didn't do that much. Next turn, I went for a Growth, and Claydol hit with a Psychic that brought Venusaur to half. I figured that one boost was enough, so I went for a Giga Drain against Claydol, which got a one-shot. Teddy and Lysa send Lunatone and their Satu wakes Sap and hits for a lot of damage with Psychic, while Sludge Bomb defeats him. Lunatone just went for a Coal Mine, so the next turn, even with the boost from Coal Mine, I was able to get an Oko. Last was their Soul Rock, but his Psychic didn't do much, so I got an easy win with another Giga Drain. The fight only took one restart, but it could have taken way longer if I got unlucky with either Sleep or Special Defense drops from Psychic. Next was a double battle on the space station against Matsi and Tabitha with Steven, but by using the strategy of putting both opponents to sleep, setting up a Growth, and then just spamming attacks against one side to then focus on the other, it was no issue. Could have probably won this fight alone if I'm honest. Last of the evil team fights is against Archie, but since his team is basically the same as Matsi, but with a Sharpedo instead of a Camerupt, and Venusaur is at level 49, you can probably guess how that went. The only other thing of relevance that happened was that I got a TM for Earthquake, but I've already said that it doesn't seem that useful, so I don't think I'll ever use it. The final gym leader is Juan, and since he's the water-type gym leader, you can probably guess how it went. I only got a bit scared against Love Disc when I missed a Sleep Powder and then got hit by an Attract, but I landed a Giga Drain immediately to defeat her. I still needed to set up Growth, but I easily did that against Wishcash. Even when he woke up early both times I put him to sleep and got to set up an Amnesia. Finally, before the league is Wally, but once again it was a complete joke after setting up one Growth. Not really much to say besides that. Okay, these last few fights have been pretty easy for Mega Venusaur, managing to reach the league while doing the minimum amount of battles and with a really low amount of resets. Granted, that last one is mostly because I already did a run with regular Venusaur, so I already knew which strategies I should use to win those fights, but it's still impressive. I feel like I can keep this rhythm when going against the league, with the only problem maybe being Drake, but we'll have to see. First of the Elite Four is Sydney, and after putting his Mariana to sleep and setting up a single Growth, I outsped and one-shot his entire team. And nothing else happened. I totally didn't have to restart because I got hit with 2 Sand attacks, which made me miss like 10 times against Sydney's Pokemon and make me run out of Sludge Bombs against his grass types. Nope, totally didn't happen. Second of the Elite Four is Phoebe, and this one was a bit more challenging thanks to her Dusclops making me use double the power points with her ability Pressure. Not to mention her Ghost types having a resistance to poison moves. I went for Growth a couple of times, and to save on power points for Sludge Bomb, I decided to KO her with Giga Drain, which only took 2 to make it happen. After that, the rest of her team were one-shots with Sludge Bomb. Third of the Elite Four is Glacia, and I didn't even bother going for Sleep Powder. I just went for Growth right off the bat and then KO'd her whole team with Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb. Thick Fat is really good on Mega Venusaur, I'm telling you. Last of the Elite Four is Drake, and I went for 2 Growths against Shelgon before KOing him with Sludge Bomb. Next was Salamence, and he outsped and hit for decent damage with Dragon Claw before fainting to Sludge Bomb. Flygon was next, and Giga Drain was barely not a one-shot, so he hit back with a Crunch that didn't really do much. He healed with a potion, but it looks like it was a range, because the next Giga Drain defeated him. Then Altaria was a one-shot with Sludge Bomb, and Kingdra was a one-shot with Sludge Bomb. Finally, it's the champion Wallace. He starts with Wailord, and I go for the usual Sleep and Growth, but he wakes up immediately and sets up the rain. I don't know what he has, so to not risk it, I just knock him out with Giga Drain. Whiscash comes out, but he obviously was a one-shot. So next was Tentacruel, who did okay damage with Sludge Bomb, but wasn't able to take 2 Giga Drains. Fourth was Gyarados, who hit for not so much damage with Earthquake after setting up a Dragon Dance and fell to 2 Sludge Bombs. His Smilotic came out, and he actually survived that Giga Drain, but hit Mega Venusaur with a weak Ice Beam, so he fell to the next attack. Last was Ludicolo, and I think you know how that fight went. That was unbelievably easy. I didn't have to restart a single time during the entire run against the league. Yep, not even once. However, as you probably know, the run is not over yet. There's still a secret post-game battle against Steven. Now, he lives with a Skarmory which is either immune or resists all of Venusaur's moves, so it's going to be tricky to find a strategy to get past him at my current level. Now, I could go on about the different options I have, but since I know from the regular Venusaur run, I'll just skip that part and tell you that the one that worked the best was Leech Seed, Growth, Sleep Powder, and Giga Drain, with the last move having its power points maxed out by IPV mats. Skarmory is just way too tanky, so the damage from Leech Seed is almost mandatory, not to mention the recovery. The same for Sleep Powder and Growth, which should give me enough opportunities to KO Steven's Pokemon. As for why Giga Drain, it's just one of the strongest moves Mega Venusaur can learn that's not physical, with the recovery being a massive plus. Steven's team is in the late 70s while my Venusaur is at level 61, so I don't know if it's really going to work, with the whole not being able to use a Hell item. But if it doesn't, I could always just use the rare candies that are scattered throughout Hoenn, but I would rather not to if I can. It took me a couple of attempts, but eventually I managed to get all 6 growths against Skarmory while also being able to defeat him. Leech Seed helped a ton with the damage and recovery, as his aerial aces did close to half to Mega Venusaur's HP, while a plus 6 Giga Drain didn't even do half to him. When Metagross came out, he outsped and one-shot with Psychic. Okay, maybe if Venusaur was at full HP, he could have survived. Literally the next attempt, I managed to get to Metagross again, but this time at full HP. This time he went for Meteor Mash and did over half. I went for Giga Drain, but my move did less than half, and since he still outsped me, he defeated me. I didn't want to use Sleep Powder against the Metagross to make the fight a bit more entertaining, but it looks like I'll have to. Once again the next attempt, I get back to Metagross. He goes for Meteor Mash again, but this time I go for Sleep Powder. Giga Drain is still doing the same amount of damage, so after 2 hits, I get Metagross to eat his berry. He wakes up though, and hits with Meteor Mash once more to bring Mega Venusaur to the yellow. However, another attack beats Steven's Ace Metagross. After that, Armaldo was a one-shot with Giga Drain, and Claydol was a one-shot after he hit a weak Earthquake. Fifth was Aggron, and because of his ability Sturdy that prevented him from being O-Code, we kept going back and forth between Steven trying to heal and Mega Venusaur attacking with Giga Drain. Eventually, he ran out of potions, so Aggron finally fainted. Last was Steven's Cradily, and Giga Drain wasn't a one-shot. I entered panic mode as he went for Confuse Ray, but Mega Venusaur pulled through and didn't hit himself, so with one more attack, Mega Venusaur beats the final fight of the game, somehow winning the whole game with a low 11 total restarts and doing minimum battles with no rare candies. Moral of the story? Sleep and stat boosting moves are broken, especially when combined with some way of recovery. But anyways, did I miss anything on the video? If you think so, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.